If you're a high achiever, I think one of the biggest downfalls and biggest traps that many high achievers fall into is thinking that pursuit is purpose. Because as a high achiever, you're always kind of looking to achieve something greater and expand yourself and grow, which is great. I would consider myself to be a high achiever, but I've realized this trap, and I've realized that it's not always worth it, and how to live a life that is a bit more balanced so that you don't lose yourself in the pursuit. Because I think oftentimes what happens is we are always looking to grow and strive and achieve and set that bar a little bit higher for ourselves. And it's thinking that in the process of that we'll be more fulfilled or have more meaning in life or more purpose or whatever. But what I've come to realize is it doesn't actually give you those things. There's nothing really outside of us that can give us that deep sense of fulfillment within, in a lasting sense anyways. It comes and goes. I've come to realize that true purpose comes from something greater, from a practice of living in alignment with who we are. It's not necessarily reaching an endpoint or a destination. It's a continuous process. It's a way of life that emits purpose, if you will. It's like we build the purpose in the way that we live. And I think another thing is we often confuse growth with meaning. I know I have in my life, thinking that, as a business grows, or as you start building yourself in a career or in some sort of, again, pursuit, that it's giving it's meaning. It's providing meaning in life, and it can for sure, but I don't think it's the whole picture. And there's a really valuable question, that kind of self-reflection question, and that will help you come back to what's truly purposeful for you, beyond the pursuit, beyond the striving, if you will. Because if you've gotten to this point in life where you've been pushing and striving and, eventually you feel like you're going to burn out. Eventually you realize that climbing the mountain and getting to the top of that mountain won't necessarily give you the things that you thought it would have. So the question is, who am I when I stop trying to become somebody? I love that question because it puts you back in touch with who you are, really, beyond the things that we attach ourselves to or try to secure ourselves in. I think a lot of times the striving and the pursuit comes from, a good place. Not necessarily that it ends up in a bad place per se, but it comes from a place of, maybe wanting to have a positive impact or something. And then along the line, we end up losing ourselves in the pursuit. That which initially was a form of living a purpose ends up taking over ourselves, taking over us, and we end up losing ourselves in the pursuit. And so if you find yourself in this place, ask yourself, what would your life look like if there was no one applauding, if no one was going to find out about your achievements, if they didn't really matter? And if that means you'd still do it, perfect. But if you feel like you'd be doing something different or your life would look different, I'm not saying to completely stop what you're doing, but I think it's important to layer in some of those things into your life and implement them as different practices or rituals for yourself, so you don't lose yourself to the pursuit. Because as I said, the pursuit, it's not the same as purpose. True purpose will come from you living in alignment with who you are, your values, what's important to you, what makes you feel most alive. So I hope this video helps you ground yourself, maybe reflect a little bit if you are feeling a little bit lost or disconnected from yourself, because it's very easy to lose yourself in the pursuit, in the chase of things. I know what that's like. And it's not about not pursuing anymore. It's about not necessarily attaching to outcomes as if it's going to define your worth. And it's about having a foundation of keeping yourself intact, a relationship with yourself. You're fueling yourself. You're nourishing yourself, your mind, your body, your spirit, everything, as you pursue. Because that's like putting gas in your tank. I'm sure you've heard it. You can't pour from an empty cup. And quite often when all we are doing is pursuing and checking items off a list, of a to-do list, what we need to do to optimize our life and our day and, reach this goal, we become a shell of ourselves, really. And we look around at our lives and we're like, man, my health is declined. My relationships aren't great. My place is messy. Or it manifests itself in a number of different ways, but we end up losing ourselves, and it's not worth it. Whereas if we can fuel ourselves, nourish ourselves, be able to regulate, build from a place of authenticity and alignment, and move from that place, we have much more inspiration, creativity, productivity. But it's not always about pushing forward. Sometimes it's about being okay with taking a step back and returning to yourself. So I hope this video helps you. Like I said, ground yourself, maybe reevaluate some things if you need to. Because it's really all about living a fulfilling, meaningful, purposeful, peaceful life. And it starts with you, coming back to you. So I'll see you in the next video.